Imagine this, when life returns to rusted train tracks, what kind of scene unfolds? Viewers, think about it. What if someone told you that in old abandoned trains, people have started living? No hotels, no buildings, just rust-covered train carriages. But inside there are beds, kitchens, and even lights. This is not a movie. It's the reality of Burkina Faso, where President Ibrahim Traoré took an extraordinary step that stunned the entire world. Old trains that were once memories of the past have now become the doorway to a new life for thousands of poor families. Once upon a time, the railway stations of Burkina Faso were full of life. The whistles of trains, the voices of travelers, the laughter of children. All those sounds became beautiful memories of the past as time passed and the railway system began to collapse. The tracks rusted, the trains stood abandoned, and where there was once hope for travel, silence took over. But in the midst of that silence, there were thousands of people without homes or shelter, soaked in rain, burned by the sun, yet still dreaming, if only we had a home. That was the moment when the young president, Ibrahim Traoré, said, "We are not here to sell new dreams. We are here to give new life to old ones." And from that thought was born an idea that amazed the world. The government decided that the old, unused trains would be transformed into homes. Each abandoned carriage was cleaned and painted in fresh colors. Wooden floors were installed, small beds were made, kitchens were added, and even play areas were built for children. Where once tickets were checked, now mothers tell bedtime stories to their children. Viewers, this was not just a project, it was a journey of hope, a journey that began on the railway tracks and reached the hearts of humanity. Watch this video till the end, because what you'll see next will prove one thing. Progress is not built with money, it's built with intention. At first, everyone thought the idea was madness. Turning trains into homes, how is that possible? They laughed. Some mocked it, others said it was just political talk. But Ibrahim Traoré didn't give up. He personally visited the old tracks, stepped into the rusted carriages, and said, "This is not metal. This is our people's future." Repairs began. Engineers opened the old train carriages. Where there were once broken seats, new wooden panels were installed. Burnt-out lights were replaced with bright bulbs. Each carriage was transformed into a complete home, with a roof, windows, and ventilation. At first, only 10 train carriages were completed, but when the first families moved in, the joy on their faces was beyond words. An elderly woman said with tears in her eyes, "I never imagined, even in my dreams, that one day a train would become my home." Slowly, the project began to grow. Every new carriage became a new symbol of hope. Some were turned into family homes, others into school classrooms, and some into small medical units for the poor. But the journey wasn't easy. International organizations called the plan unrealistic and unconventional. Funds were limited and resources were scarce. But Ibrahim Traoré stood firm and said, "If the intention is pure, even rust can turn into gold." And that's exactly what happened. The project spread across the entire nation. Where once the railway tracks were abandoned, now the tracks of life were laid once again. Viewers, today if you visit any railway station in Burkina Faso, you won't see broken rails. You'll see colors of life. Where dust once blew endlessly, now children ride bicycles, and mothers swing their babies gently in the evening breeze. You might find it hard to believe that this is the same place where people once slept on the ground, crying from hunger. Now they have roofs, homes, and dignity. A little boy looks into the camera and says proudly, "This is my home, my train home." And on his face is a joy that not even a palace can give. These are not just homes, they are symbols of life restored. Each train carriage now tells a story of struggle and a story of hope. When the world saw these scenes, it was left amazed. International media called it Africa's most humane project. Some countries even called Ibrahim Traoré a modern-day visionary. But the most beautiful moment was when the people themselves placed hand-painted boards outside their train homes that read, "This home was not built by the government. It was built by our hope." Many poor nations around the world have now started adopting this model because everyone has realized something powerful. Progress doesn't come from wealth. It comes from decisions made with heart. This project is not a slogan, it is a lesson. Sometimes all it takes to change the world is pure intention. When the sun sets over the skies of Burkina Faso, golden light reflects from the old railway tracks. And through the glowing windows of the trains, faces peek out with one expression. Peace, they whisper with quiet pride. We are no longer homeless. These are the people who once had nothing. No homes, no recognition, no hope. But today, they have a roof over their heads, an identity, and most importantly, a renewed faith in life. For Ibrahim Traoré, this wasn't just a project. It was a revolution of thought. He showed the world that when a government truly cares, it can turn old, abandoned things into symbols of new life. No one had ever imagined that silent, rusted trains would one day become stations of hope. But that's the power of true leadership, to see light where others see only darkness. Today, the people of Burkina Faso are not just living in homes. They have become a living example for the world, an example of humanity that proves progress doesn't come from wealth or power. It comes from kindness of heart and sincerity of purpose. On the door of one train home, someone has written, "This house was not built from metal, it was built from faith." And that one sentence tells the story of the entire nation, because when a people learn to live with belief, no force on earth can keep them poor. This is not just the story of Burkina Faso, it's the story of every nation that dares to believe that progress begins the moment people stop saying, "It's impossible." Once, these trains were built only for travel. Today, they have become the support system for countless lives. Ibrahim Traoré has shown the world that true progress is not measured by tall buildings, but by the hope that rises inside people's hearts. Burkina Faso has given the world a timeless lesson. If your intentions are pure, even rusted iron can become the crown of humanity. And maybe that's why the world now asks, if Burkina Faso can do this, why can't the rest of us? This is not just a story of trains. It's a story of faith that survived poverty, despair, and exhaustion, and still won. Viewers, if you believe this is what true humanity looks like, then give this video a like, subscribe to our channel for more real and inspiring stories, and share this video by him, because sometimes a single story can reignite someone's hope. The real question isn't what Ibrahim Traoré did. The question is, what will we do?